Magical Realism in Art, Max Ernst. The Life of Max Ernst. Max Ernst was born on April 2nd, 1891 in Brühl, Germany. He died on April 1st, 1976 in Paris, France. Max Ernst was a German painter and sculptor. He was also the originator of the automatism movement of surrealism in art. Ernst served in the German army during the First World War. He was also a founding member of the Surrealists, which were a group of artists whose work grew out of fantasies from the unconscious. Ernst moved to the United States following the beginning of World War II and then returned to France in 1953, which is where he died 23 years later. The first work of art by Ernst that we are looking at is called The Stolen Mirror. The Stolen Mirror was created by Ernst when he was living in California in 1941. He was living there with his soon-to-be fiancée, Peggy Guggenheim. The two female figures in this painting are supposed to represent Peggy and Leonard Carrington, Ernst's old lover that he left behind in France. It is said by many that he created the Stolen Mirror painting after learning Carrington had suffered a mental breakdown and was placed in a mental institution in France. This piece currently resides in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. The next piece is called Europe After the Rain. This is a painting of an abstract landscape that many think depicts an apocalyptic view of Europe following World War II and its destruction. Some also think it represents the idea that once an image of civilization as being tidy is stripped away, you are left with a chaotic mess. This painting was created in 1940 through 1942. It currently is held in the Wadsworth Atheneum Museum of Art in Hartford, Connecticut. The next painting is entitled The Barbarians. In this painting, Ernst has drawn horrifying creatures as expressions of his fears that Europe would be destroyed during World War II. This painting was created in 1937 and it currently is residing in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The next work is called Woman, Old Man, and Flower. This painting was created in 1923 in Paris, France. This is where Ernst created the basic composition of the painting. A year later, in Ubon, Ernst modified the painting and added the transparent figure that is shown in the front of the painting, which is what many assume to be the flower that is mentioned in the title. This painting currently lives in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. The final work of art is entitled The Triumph of Surrealism. This painting was created by Max Ernst in 1937. Ernst painted this picture shortly after the Spanish Republicans were defeated during the Spanish War. During this war, fascist leaders from Spain became supported by Germany and Italy for their victories. Max Ernst wanted to depict the chaos he saw spreading throughout Europe through this painting. This painting is currently under ownership of someone's private collection. Throughout all of Max Ernst's paintings that I just studied, I was able to notice that there is certainly an element of magical realism in his paintings. As you may have noticed from my description of each painting, Ernst was often creating art that reflected real pain or emotions he had, as well as creating art that depicted real-world events that were happening around him. This is the real part of his work. The magic comes from the way he paints these emotions and events as magical creatures or beings that don't really exist on Earth.